Coming up on this episode of The Village Idiom.
You've been through the Massey in Ladner.
The tunnel?
When I'm traveling through the Massey with friends, and it only happens when I'm with friends, I get a cramp. Yeah, I know. It's. Have you ever heard of it?
I'm waiting.
Well, it's carpal tunnel syndrome.
Okay, there it is.
Village Idiom.
Hello, and welcome to The Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that every single week takes a popular saying to take a shallow but hopefully comedic and once in a while even interesting death into its meaning, its usage, its origins, but we're also going to use it to hang our otherwise directionless conversation on. My name is Jurassic Mark.
And I am skinny.
With hand motions.
Very
svelte. Less.
Very
Well,
svelte.
what do you think about this?
Oh, Charley.Horse, Charley.Horse.
Yeah, you guessed it.
That sounds very Homer-y.
I don't know if this is classified as an idiom, but today we're going to be talking about
Charley-Horses.
Charley-Horses.
It does come up. It is an idiom.
Okay.
Because it doesn't mean what it says.
Or does it?
No, it's a Charley horse. It's,
Thanks.
once you get into what it actually means and where it comes from, then it has no correlation. So it's a definite idiom.
Fair enough. Okay. Got it.
Have you ever had a leg cramp?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. When I dug into this, I thought I knew what a Charley-Horse was. And now I'm confused. Because if you just look up what is a Charley-Horse, well, I jotted down one of the definitions, a sudden painful muscle cramp in the leg. But it doesn't even have to be the leg, according to dictionary definitions. It's just any painful muscle spasm anywhere in the body.
Well,
now,
I see a cramp, just a general cramp.
But growing up, the only thing I thought of Charley, until today, or when I started prepping for this, same thing, today.
Where's my napkin?
I thought it was an act, I'm going to give you a Charley-Horse. Like a punch
Or
right
I received
there.
a Charley-Horse,
Yeah.
or just my...
You Charley-Horse
I got
that person.
Oh, I see. As opposed to just getting one?
Yeah, everything you look up is an involuntary muscle spasm.
It still happens so my version of it is I blew my back when 14 years ago lifting a seed out of a van, and it was pop. And so now I've got this, if I get my leg, when I tuck my leg under a chair, just
Flamingo leg?
Just in the right position, it's just this shooting, I've got to
really?
straighten it up and then walk around like an idiot for 5 minutes. It's just this crazy cramp.
So you equate Charley-Horses as a cramp. Have you always, or was it something you did, to mean kids did to...
No, as a kid, it was you punch somebody and it actually said, Charley-Horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's
Charley-Horse.
I haven't had a Charley-Horse, we used to, just a knee, right? Because you're at the same height as your buddy and it's like that.
Well, that, not in the...
But here's
not in the private spots.
No. In the
leg.
side of the thigh.
Yeah.
But the funny thing for me was I stopped calling them Charley-Horses because you know how just literally contained in the community of a single elementary school, there can be some phrase or saying that never goes bigger than that. Well, everybody at that school called them lamers.
I gave you a lamer?
I gave you a lamer. And so every time I said, a Charley-Horse, I would get mocked. And I felt like a country bumpkin referring to a farm animal. No, a Charley-Horse? A Charley-Horse. And now I'm like, no, I was right.
No one likes a Charlie in the box.
So yeah, we would a knee to the side of the thigh, get a lamer. And then I thought I had just picked up some, my mom grew up on the farm. I'm like, oh my goodness, I am country bumpkin. Calling it a Charley-Horse? What's my problem?
Straight out of Chilliwack or Alberta or something.
Yeah.
Well, but in terms of I see it as a cramp, a leg cramp. But I understand that the worst of all cramps is a menstrual cramp, period. Without any other
I was taking a drink.
Without any other explanation.
It was too much technical equipment to make me
the
do a spit take.
Type of cramp, I'm told. Period. Yeah.
Remind me to tell you a joke when we're not recording.
Well, sometimes girls go on. It's it's the worst. I think it's a bit of an overreaction. But of all types of cramps, the Charley-Horse is a bad one.
My face is hurting. Oh, I have a Charlie horse in my cheeks. These cheeks. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So when I looked up clips like the one we played here,
Oh, Charley.Horse, Charley.Horse.
several back me up where it's like I'm going to give you a Charlie horse. I gave him a Charlie horse. So I think it's both now. I think it's used as an act, something you do to someone or something you receive from someone, but also by definition, it's just like a spasm. Like athletes get it,
right. You've had perhaps when you were in those growing phases, and you're just lying in bed. It's like Charlie horse, like out of nowhere.
See, no, I can't relate to that.
Leg spasm. That's just too much. It's not real kid like. Involuntary muscle contraction.
It's the same amount of syllables. Charlie horse, leg spasm.
Involuntary muscle contraction.
Wouldn't you just yell cramp then?
Sure. It's a Charlie horse if it happens in your leg. Is my thinking. Charlie horse. I don't think of like, I got a back spasm. It's like, I got a Charlie horse. It's like, it's got to be your leg.
Yeah. Huh.
This is just one guy's opinion.
Charlie horse.
Just one guy's opinion.
Yep, I get it. I've been wrong all these years. I thought it was a thing you did. Like, I don't know. I can't think of another. Punch you in the face.
Well, there's different ways. Like, you've been through the Massey in Ladner.
The tunnel?
When I'm traveling through the Massey with friends, and it only happens when I'm with friends, I get a cramp. Yeah, I know. It's. Have you ever heard of it?
I'm waiting.
Well, it's carpal tunnel syndrome.
Okay, there it is. Did not see it coming. I'm like, all of this makes no sense. Where's the punchline? Why'd you choose the Massey Tunnel?
How many tunnels do we have here?
It's not a carpool tunnel.
No, but that's why I did it with friends. It's a carpool tunnel syndrome.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the worst week for you. You know what I'm disappointed in? So I love these jokes, by the way.
Okay, good.
But I hate that they've now been labeled dad jokes because it's
that
play
is
on
sexist.
words. It's a witty play on words, and
Sure.
some of them are phenomenal. And to just go dad joke,
Yeah, if your last name
Like-
or you're from the genetic lineage of Lang, the Baroness,
Yeah.
when she's listened to, she'll appreciate that. That there's like some families that just this is their means of humor.
yeah.
It's not a dad joke. It's just a.
And if it is, like, good for dads because they're hilarious. Some of them.
they're often really moronic, but we appreciate the wit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. I love it. I'm sad that it's been.
Well, it's
given
different. So the Charlie horse is clearly a leg cramp.
Yeah.
Whereas
I used my last bit of energy giving Steve that Charlie horse.
See,
I don't know what that was
It's
from.
something you dole out as American dad.
Okay.
Dad jokes.
Do you ever get foot cramp?
Sure.
Yeah, that's my arch nemesis. Is
I knew. I couldn't get to the punchline, but there's no way you're actually wondering if I get foot cramps. Does anybody ever get feet cramps?
simultaneous cramping
Yeah. Feet cramp.
when you're bowling and you have to wear them shoes that don't fit. Ice skating.
Is there a joke coming right now?
No, but I'm trying to think of a situation where both of your feet are tortured simultaneously, and it would be putting on ice skates for me.
Oh, I see.
I got these wide flipper feet, and then those ice skates are.
I can't believe how fast you swim, though.
It's pretty good.
It's just look at him go.
Michael Phelps. Yeah.
That's awesome. There was an auction. Wow, we are derailing from the topic as per usual, but there was an auction recently done by David Hasselhoff, and he was getting rid of all his own collection of things. And one of the things, you swimming super fast with your flipper feet, reminded me. Did you see the SpongeBob SquarePants movie? Mm-mm. Oh, this is going to be lost on you then, but there's a scene where he gives them a ride like he's a boat. And it's just David Hasselhoff, hands at his side, chin up, belly down on the surface of the ocean.
Like the Incredibles? Like Mrs.
Yeah,
Incredible?
like that.
Okay.
But it's David Hasselhoff in his Baywatch shorts.
That's awesome.
So I thought it was just funny animation or like
The Hoff. Yeah.
I was going to say Photoshop, whatever Hollywood uses. But
CGI.
turns out that is a 20-foot prop that he owns himself. And so he was auctioning that off, and they were thinking they were going to get $1.5 million for it. And but I'm like,
Who has storage room for a 20-foot
but how great would
David Hasselhoff
Okay,
boat?
I don't know if it's 20 feet, but it is big.
Okay.
But my idea, not that I have a place for it or a reason to have this, but David Hasselhoff as the base of a glass-topped boardroom table.
Okay, that is amazing.
Right?
Okay, so do you ever watch those? This is talk about derail, but just do you ever watch those videos with they put epoxy on
Let me
like
give you Charley.Horse just to keep on topic.
on like live edge
Yeah,
type
yeah, yeah.
wood, and then
Yeah,
they
yeah,
pour
yeah.
the epoxy and
Yeah,
then they
yeah.
sand it down. Okay, so I've always looked at that, and I enjoy taking on stupid little projects. And just yesterday, I was popping in to drop some books off at someone's house who is enjoys rock collecting of all weird little hobbies.
They do?
They enjoy rock
They
collecting.
enjoy rock collecting,
And
so
so-
you dropped off books.
That's it. You're getting it now.
You like rocks? Here's some books.
Here's some books. And he's like, I just want finding ways to display them. And so I've used like these masonry type tools and cuts like slivers of them.
Wait. What do you mean by rock collecting?
These are like rock, like this looks like a weird rock, like go to the beach.
Just
go
like
on
that-
the trail,
that simple.
random weird agates. And this
Okay.
one is different striation patterns on it. And
Oh, so they're a little bit geologist knowledgeable.
yes. And so
Geologible.
they're looking for a way to display them.
Okay.
And so he's like, I poured the epoxy mix into a shallow
Tray,
bowl.
kinda, yeah.
Yeah. And so he made this like lazy Susan situation and filled it with
Rocks he's collected.
epoxy in these rocks. And it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we're not that far away now from making like our own like cutting board or something. Like some usage of
For you.
Yeah, I'm like, well, if he knows how to do it, then let's give it a try.
And who knows? Maybe that could end up on our merch page. Village Idiom cutting boards
That's what you need.
with the leftover T-shirts in the epoxy.
Well, sure. I was trying to think of good usage, and when we had last week when we were talking about the whole record thing, I thought it would be a fun stool topper to put a record in epoxy and then mount that onto a stool so that the sitting surface is actually an old LP.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Huh.
That has a whole lot to do with nothing. That and
By
nickel.
the way, I went through the rest of those boxes of records, and
any gems in there?
yeah, there was quite a few comedy records, which is what I'm looking for, and like many, half a dozen probably of Jonathan Winters,
No,
which I thought was fantastic.
that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Little Jonathan
it was fun
Winters.
just
was
going.
he just doing impressions?
I haven't listened to him yet.
Okay.
but
I think he's an impressionist. I think.
yeah.
but not like Van Gogh or different impressionist.
You know what I thought would always be funny as a part of a. Maybe we shouldn't even we haven't even gotten into origins, but
Oh my goodness, we just
impressionist. If I was a stand-up comic, I would get in front of a crowd and I go, "Do you want to see my impression of pick a celebrity? Want to see my impression of Skinny?" And pull out a piece of tinfoil that has obviously been pressed against your face. And just go.
Like one of those.
I'll show you a Clooney. Here's my Clooney. Turn the tinfoil around. That's my Clooney impression.
That's awesome. I wonder if you could do that and then put that in epoxy.
Way to bring it back around.
So there's like a phase impression. Charley.Horse.
Charley.Horse.
Anyway, so yeah, that's
Okay, well, let's do this.
That's the nonsense.
I said some words. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around. I looked behind. Words came from another mind.
You know, I sometimes wonder if our banter, off-topic banter, should be at the end, so people can come get what they came for,
I can't even help
and
myself.
then turn it off if they don't want the leftovers.
Yeah.
We could call it our leftover section.
So like, just get right into hey. I
mean, the other option is editing.
where it comes from.
Yeah.
and then just be done. And then for the next 20 minutes, it's just going to be us rambling about nonsense.
Yeah.
Huh? That's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll try it next week.
We'll take the parts that people are maybe perhaps looking for.
We'll take the parts that people Yeah. If we were editing, we could, people would probably be happier, but
Whatever.
it's time for editing.
I don't do this. I do this to keep
You guys
myself entertained.
start living up your end on Patreon for us, and then maybe we'll do some editing. All right. Well, it turns out there are a few theories on the origin of the term Charley-Horse, but most of them lead to baseball. So we're going to start with this one. In the 1880s, multiple publications referred to the term Charley-Horse. By the way, Charley-Horse in everything I looked up was Charley, which I would never spell
I-E.
Charlie that way. But in almost every case, it was EY.
It's an IE.
So
in my
for
mind.
some reason, the term Charley-Horse is spelled differently than Charley-Horse.
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
Often capitalized as Charley-Horse, sometimes spelled with an IE, as something familiar to baseball players who reportedly used it to describe certain muscle injuries or pains. Two ball players, Jack Glasscock, do you want to say that again?
Negative.
Jack Glasscock and Joe Quest. Man, that is a detective show right there. Glasscock and Quest.
It's I would change it. Yeah.
Anyway, Jack Glasscock and Joe Quest are each credited, both of them, as the originator of the phrase. So here we go. A version of the Glasscock story appeared in the July 1886 issue of a West Virginia newspaper called the Wheeling Daily Intelligencer. Okay.
It's all good. Well, it's just a brief commercial break happening spontaneously right now, which is a great way to segue into our sponsor today, which is of course HelloFresh. We love HelloFresh. We very much enjoy our sponsoring partnership with them that doesn't exist. And if you haven't, and you're interested in getting in on a free week supply of HelloFresh, and you're new to the whole idea of bringing in food in that kind of environment, make sure to send us your information through our social media accounts, and we will get you a code to get you hooked up with a HelloFresh box. You would love it. We love it. Can't say enough good things about it. Quest and Glasscock.
Perfect. Our technical difficulties have been resolved. Thanks for filling in. Baseballists have invented a brand new disease. This is what was written in that West Virginia newspaper article. Baseballists have invented a brand new disease called Charley-Horse. It consists of a peculiar contraction and hardening of the muscles and tendons of the thigh, to which ball players are liable from their sudden starting and stopping in chasing balls. Jack Glasscock is said to have originated the name because of the way the men limped around, reminding him of an old horse he once owned named Charlie. So that's 18. What did I say? 1886. Other accounts suggest Glasscock adopted this phrase from his father, who took care of Charlie, same horse. When the dad saw his son limping due to the same kind of leg injury, he supposedly remarked, "Why, John, my boy, what is the matter? You go just like old Charley-Horse."
What baseball team did they play for?
Well, you know what? I don't know about Glasscock, but this next one is interesting because the Quest story has a few variants as well. Outfielder Hugh Nickel told the Chicago Tribune in 1906 that Quest coined the phrase in 1882 while playing for the Chicago White
Sox.
No. Did you know they were originally called the Chicago White Stockings?
That sounds made up.
I know. I read that and I'm like, is this
The White Stockings?
Is this a parody? So I looked it up. Yeah, they used to be the White Stockings.
This sounds made up.
No, look it up. Chicago White Stockings was their original name.
It's not all funny. Some of it's just information.
So the Chicago White Pippi Longstockings.
I'm gonna say White Sox.
So the Quest story is apparently the teammates spent an off day watching horse races on the south side. According to a tip they'd received the previous night, a horse named Charlie was practically guaranteed to win. The tip was touted as a cinch. It simply couldn't lose, and we all got on, Nicole recalled, noting that everyone placed bets on Charlie except for Quest. The other players teased him for his choice, but Quest got the last laugh. Although Charlie had a sizable lead from the beginning, he ultimately stumbled and injured himself going around the last turn and lost. Quest allegedly told his teammates, "Look at your old Charley-Horse." Now, per Nichols' account, he kept up the ribbing the next day and even exclaimed, "There's your old Charley-Horse. He'd made it all right if he hadn't been for that old Charley-Horse," when a teammate strained himself in a similar way while running to second base. So, there's your Glasscock and Quest versions of this story.
That sounds
Still,
about right.
still about baseball, still about horses, but
Something about a horse in baseball.
Yeah,
that's a good origin story.
Another theory is similar to the Glasscock story in 1889 Grand Rapids Daily. It's funny that these were all reported as like, hey, have you heard about this Charley-Horse term? Let me tell you, baseball, horse story. And so this one is Grand Rapids Daily Democrat. Years ago, Joe Quest, bringing up Quest again, was employed as an apprentice in the machine shop of Quest and Shaw in Newcastle. His father, who was one of the proprietors of the firm, had an old white horse by the name of Charlie. Doing usage and pulling heavy loads had stiffened the animal's legs so that he walked as if troubled with strained tendons. Afterwards, when Quest became a member of the Chicago club, the Stockings, the White Stockings, he was troubled with others with a peculiar stiffness of the legs, which brought to his mind the ailment of the old white horse Charlie. Joe said that the ballplayer troubled with the ailment hobbled exactly as did the old horse, and as no one seemed to know what the trouble was, Quest dubbed it Charley-Horse. What's funny is it seemed like Glasscock and Quest were competing to get credit for it. Like
They're starting to gain traction.
There is a baseball thing, there is an actual injury, and there are horses, and looks like newspapers are picking this up. So individually, they were almost going, I'll tell you where it came from. I coined the phrase.
They'll probably get more credit for that than actually being a baseball player. Because we never would have heard from
Glasscock or Quest.
I never would have heard from an 1890s baseball player otherwise.
Right, yeah, exactly.
How many can you name? 0. Now
Babe
2.
Ruth. Babe Ruth.
He's not like that old.
I don't know.
I don't think he's that old.
He
1890s?
Hey Google. When
dear.
did Babe Ruth play baseball?
Babe Ruth was drafted on 1935, 1920, and 1914.
There you go.
There you go.
So you're right. I'm wrong.
There you
What about?
I'm not even proud that that would be a thing.
What do you mean you're not proud that that would be a thing?
I just don't think of them as that old.
Oh,
Up until 10 minutes ago, I wouldn't have known the baseball was in 18 anything in front of it.
it's America's pastime.
I guess.
Baseball and apple pie. So it is worth noting, though, that Charley-Horse initially seemed to refer to much more serious athletic injuries than what we kind of refer to now, like a short-lived spasm in your leg that you experience in the middle of the night when
People have, like,
somebody
different,
pounces on you and
like hypotheses and whatnot. It's like, you need to do this. You don't have enough magnesium. You need more potassium. Have you eaten a banana recently?
hydration.
You were dehydrated.
Yeah.
Have you eaten a hydrated banana? Dipped in
Only dried bananas for me.
like a fun dip in magnesium to get rid of that spasm.
Fun dip of magnesium. That's awesome.
It's like licking a banana and putting it in a little magnesium dipper. Woo. That'll get rid of your cramps.
Okay, another name origin theory is that Charley-Horse comes from an old horse named Charlie, surprise, surprise, that dragged equipment at the White Stockings ballpark. Apparently, injured players would compare their limping to Charlie's gait and call the leg muscle injury Charley-Horse. So, who knows? The last theory...
It's the White Sox. That's so pretentious. White Stockings.
We'll end it here. Yet another theory is that Charley-Horse referred to pitcher Charles Old Hoss Radbourne, who experienced bad cramps while playing in the 1880s. The Washington Post published the anecdote in 1907 referring to him and the Charley-Horse. I won't bother reading. It's kind of along the same things, but it Charlie Hoss, because the guy's nickname was Hoss.
This sounds like Balderdashy.
It does, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it's fake. That's fake. Fake news. Charlie Hoss.
Charlie Hoss. And
Yeah,
from that day to this lameness in baseball players has been called Charlie Hoss. There you go.
Maybe if you throw on a New York accent or something. It's a Charlie Hoss, eh? Wherever that is.
Oh, no, there was one more that's worth mentioning. July...
You tell us, and then we'll decide if it's worth mentioning.
1887 in the Boston Globe. That's a significant enough paper. The name is said to owe its origin to the fact that a player afflicted with it, when attempting to run, does so much after the fashion of a boy astride a wooden horse, which was sometimes called a Charley-Horse. So the actions
Okay, it
that
was
a
worth mentioning.
boy on a wooden horse.
I could see, like, just the hobbly along. Like,
Yeah.
well, that would be like King Arthur and his coconuts saying he's got
Yeah.
a Charlie horse.
So I kind of like that theory. And it was in the Boston Globe. Maybe it wasn't Glasscock or Quest.
But yeah, I could see a kid walking alongside of a
Like-
fake horse, like just trying to do that clippity clop. That
Yeah.
actually makes some.
And you're kind of limping. Looks
Sense.
like you're on a Charley-Horse.
Yes, that's very Holy Grail,
Yeah.
Monty Python, coconutty.
Looks like you're rattling coconuts.
Exactly.
There you
that
go.
would be a tough round. That would be a tough round of the balderdashes.
All right. Here you go.
Now, Charley.Horse your leg for laughs.
Nice.
Charley.Horse your leg for laughs. That was from 8 Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler. I think that was
right
Adam
on.
Sandler.
Well, we are heading into the final stretches
You
of
would
things
say
here,
that.
where we like to play a little game called Riddling. If you've not heard about it, then maybe a little description here from Marcus.
All right. Well, Riddlink is a game we like to play that is a 2-part trivia-based question that that requires a 2-part but overlapping answer, overlapping by sound or word or syllable. And so, I'll give you a little example. Last week, we did the idiom "pour fuel on the fire," if you'll recall, and we left our illegitimate listeners with illegitimate children with this Riddlink. The California Raisins sang this song about this record material that followed Vitrolac. Now, obviously, you needed to listen to the episode and know a little bit about Vitrolac, but and what records are made of. But you could also
heard it through the grapevine.
that's it.
Yeah.
Heard it through the grapevine.
I like it.
Yep. So I've got a couple for today.
I've got a couple. Let me go first.
Hit me.
Okay. The Disney Channel's Duncan family gives me a leg cramp.
Disney Channel's Duncan family. Okay, so Charley.Horse, but Duncan family. Duncan. Charlie Duncan? Who's the Duncan family?
Some of our illegitimate children are going crazy right now.
Something. Good Boy Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I mean, Good Boy Charley.Horse.
You just almost nailed it. It's Good Luck, Charlie.
Good. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Good Luck,
So it must
Charlie.
be in the archives in my brain somehow.
Interesting thing on the Good Luck, Charlie. Apparently, Disney, they won't allow past 45 episodes or something. We'll get into it another time. Something hits 45 episodes, they kill it, regardless of how well it's doing.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it later.
I didn't know
Another
that.
day.
Okay.
So as we move along, I'd love to hear one from you.
All right, I got one here. This 2-word phrase for leg cramp scared America with War of the Worlds.
Charley.Horse and Wells?
That's it.
Ooh. I was like,
It looked like it came to you like you were saying the words
Yeah,
before it came to
it
you.
did. I had Tom Cruise in my head. Get out of my
that's
head,
funny.
Tom Cruise. All right. Chicago's updated baseball team is ranked the highest academic university in England.
Chicago White Soxford?
That's it.
Cool. Good thing you said updated. White stockings
I'm
first?
busy changing my thing as you're talking your nonsense.
Okay, well, I got one more, but unless you already did during your plug earlier, tell everybody how they can get a hold of us.
You can reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom, or whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter at 3 Minutes Gone, or email us, thevillageidiom@gmail.com.
Awesome. Okay, listen carefully.
Yeah.
This church window is the last name of Jack, who potentially coined the phrase Charley.Horse.
And that has been 3 Minutes Gone. It just had to squeeze it in.
Right?
One more time. Well, it was a lot of fun putting today's podcast together. Hope you enjoyed listening to it. I'm Skinny.
I am Jurassic Glasscock Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
Here's to Charley.Horse.
That's 3 minutes gone.